Hello. We'll see how people are doing. This is the first time I'm live streaming from an iPad, by the way, so bear with me. Don't have the usual setup. Let's just go to live chat. Yeah, cool. Alright, let me get a drink. It's gonna be long. Good evening, everyone. Move just back a bit. There we go. Hi, Jason. Hi, how you doing? I'll try and put some background music on, so it's not completely silent in the background as it usually is. Hang on. We're going old school. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but there you go. How is everyone doing? First of all, I want to apologise for the lack of... where's the camera? I got used to... There's the camera. Apologise for the lack of live streams of late. It's been a lot of work getting stuff ready for this show, plus also just lots of other stuff going on too that I can't announce just yet. But I'm excited about that stuff, and hopefully I was hoping to be able to announce it before I flew out, but I can't yet. So we have to wait. It might be this week. It's any time now I can announce it. So we're looking to announce something cool soon. But for those who don't know, we are at, well, I am at GDC in San Francisco. This is my first time here in San Francisco. First time on the West Coast actually as well in general. And it's day one or day zero really, because the event starts tomorrow. But we've got our badge. And we've just came back from a couple of like after party mixer shows where it's after party, but no party the thing hasn't started yet. But it's like some events that happen around here where indie developers have got together and showcased their games and just networking, meetings, saying hi to people and things like that. So it was also Day of the Devs. They all went to that and saw the games there, met with a few people there. Said hello. Will you be going to add this to your channel so we can watch it afterwards? Yeah. This is not going to be hidden at all. This is going to be left up. Yeah. So my plan is to do a live stream like this, roughly the same sort of time every night, every day after the show, to give you an update of what's happening at the show, what I've been up to, and also to answer any questions. So I realise I haven't done the last two or three question times. And I'll make that up to you and try and answer those questions for you. So if you have any questions about Unreal Engine, game dev, or anything you want to ask, feel free to ask. Obviously, I can't show you. I don't have Unreal with me. I don't have my computer with me, so I can't show you. But I can try and do my best and answer questions that don't involve me showing you anything practically there. Let's just see. How can I not see it? There we go. There I can see trap. Journey, are indie games also shown at GDC? Yes, and also it's not just in GDC; it's shown all over the place. So as I was saying, like they have these extra events going on. So I just went to Courage XL, which was a indie band thing, which is cool. Met some people there. It was good, good time. And prior to that, I went to another mixer thing, which had a couple of indie games there. And Day of Devs was all indie. I don't know why I'm holding this. I'm just holding my Apple Pencil for some reason. Oh yeah. Thanks for RTX, Rob. Thank you. The Mimp gameplay I just put out because I'm showing it anyway to people at a show. People ask me like, "What's your game?" And I'm like, "Here you go." I just thought I'd just publish it. Saved me digging around, finding it again and again and again. It's not the best show off the game because it's not a trailer. It doesn't actually explain anything. There is a dev video coming soon with details about that. Yeah. Jason, what was that? You have a question. Why doesn't chat just stay on the screen? Just show all of it. All chat messages are visible. Right, just stay on the screen, mate. I have a question regarding collision. How bad is it to use complex collision on imported assets created in Blender? It depends on the asset. So, for those who don't know, there's two types of collision. There's simple collision and there's complex collision. So, simple collision is when we use simple primitives to design the collision shape of an object. So, for example, like this pen, for example, would be a cylindrical capsule collision, pretty obviously. But something more complex like a human is made up of several other little shapes too. Okay, and we call that simple collision. And for computer, it's a lot easier to calculate physics and things like that when you've got simple collision. The downside to simple collision, though, is you can't have complex or concaved shapes. So you can't do things with holes in, for example, at least very easily. So a way around that, typically we use other shapes to like put multiple shapes together. But yeah, then we have complex collision. So complex collision uses the actual polygon structure of a model as its collision shape. This is obviously can be expensive depending on the model. So the more detailed the model is, the more expensive this is to run. Okay, so for nanite, do not turn it on for nanite. Gold, no, don't do that. Now objects you want to keep simple. But you will find that when you're modeling inside of Unreal Engine, for example, it's going to do complex as a simple collision by default, which you probably will have to go and change if your model starts to get more complex. So it depends on what the model is that you've made in Blender. If it's simple enough, you can get away with complex being fine. But there's a couple of reasons why you'd want to use complex collision versus simple collision. And my best example of this is like a ladder. So if the player wants to interact with a ladder and the ladder's got rungs in it, what you don't want to have happen is have the line trace for the detection of the ladder to go through the rungs of the ladder, like through the holes, through the gaps. So we use simple collision for the ladder for that detection. But if I want to shoot a gun through it, I don't want the holes to block the bullets. So we turn on simple collision, complex collision for the gun, so the bullets will go through the holes. And that's why you want to use one or the other. So limit as much as you can where you're using complex collision. And further to that note, ask yourself also the question, do you actually need collision on the thing that you're putting in as well? There's a lot of little props and things that you can put into a scene that don't actually need collision. Or you can get by with just making one big simple blocking wall, maybe. So let's say you're doing a market stall and you're making a market stall and you've got like fruit on it and things like that. Rather than have a simple collision for every single item in the stall, if the player's not going to collide with it, remove all the collision and then put in a big block like this. Stephen, how do we set up private sessions from the Patreon? Message me on Discord. It's the easiest place. Patreon, you can message me on Patreon. It's annoying because it never gives me notifications, so I have to keep going in manually. So, best thing to do, Discord, message me. If I don't get back to you, it's because I'm here doing this nonsense. Private sessions have been a bit chaotic this month because of GDC, so all things go back to normal very much soon. Orhan, should we still spend our time to learn Unreal Engine 5 and C++ in 2024 as a student that will graduate in 2027, as there would there be any job left for us? Yeah, of course, yeah. That game is still being made in Unreal 4. So, yeah, keep going. What would you suggest for this artist? Rob, what would you suggest for marketing self-published and bootstrapped indie games? Share it. Too many. The biggest problem that indie people have, and especially people who get started in it, is they spend all their time making a game, but too scared to share it because they think it's going to get stolen or something. I don't know. You need to share it. Don't worry about people stealing your idea, because if you had enough people looking at you to see the game and steal it, then you have not got a problem with marketing. You've already got an audience. But if you haven't got an audience, then who's going to steal it? Who's going to look at it? So you want to share it as much as you want, talk to as many people as you want, as you can. Sorry, go to these networking events. GDC is quite expensive to go to, but there are events all over the country, every country that you're in probably. Some virtual as well, so do check them out. They are right place. Carlos, could you tell me if my understanding is correct? Instant static meshes don't support LODs, and Nanite needs LODs to work. So you bake all these static meshes into one actor containing all the ISMs, and using merge actors to convert them back into static mesh, so you can enable Nanite on it. Now, if you're going to reuse this new mesh in many places, you should use hierarchical instant meshes. Hang on, Jesus. That being said, it would be best case if you use the pack the right to that. Hold on, let me reread that. So you can bake all the meshes onto one actor. Convert them back into one mesh, so you can enable it now. Now, if you're going to reuse this new mesh in many places, you should use hierarchical static mesh. Okay. So, alright. So your question is, when should you use level instances and pack level actors instead? So you shouldn't worry about the pack level actors and level instances are mostly useful for organizational purposes. So when you're working with a team of people, that's where they come in their strengths. Also, if you want to just organize yourself, it works a little bit better too. But it gives you no major benefit in the game, really. Nikita, I'm going to study game design. Where and how best to look for a job after graduation? No real simple answer for this one. Depends heavily on where you're located. But yeah, you want to go to these networking events, talk to people, talk to your school peers, talk to your lecturers and things like that. But you mostly want to get to these networking events, be it game exhibitions and so on. Anything that can get you in front of developers and talking to developers and studios is great. Depending on where you are, depending on what studios are around you, some do offer like apprenticeships and not apprenticeships but internships. I know there's a couple in the UK that do. But I say it depends heavily on where you're located, that one. Beyond that, yeah, just got to keep looking around. They're advertised everywhere. Get on LinkedIn, get your own website set up, own portfolio set up. Social media, be active all over the place. And yeah, looking for a job is difficult, especially lately because of all the layoffs and things that have happened in the industry. But there's reasons why that could turn around. It always ebbs and flows. It always goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Always. So nothing to worry about in the long term. MK Gorski, I'm not sure if it's the right place to ask this type of question. That's right, we answer all questions. Is it difficult to get hired as a junior level designer? Don't know how to answer that one because it depends on, like, what do you mean? Like, do you mean like availability of those jobs or like requirements? A junior level designer, I mean, I don't have personal experience with that role, but I know people who have, and they got into that role, which then led to them being lead level designers. They got into the junior level designer role from being another type of designer. They were economic designer, I think they were. So yeah, it'll be something like that. It's hard to answer that one because I don't know details. If you think about availability, I mean, I don't know. I'll just be Googling just the same as you would. There's no way for me to, I don't know. I wish I had some secret answers to the industry. I wish the industry would just like whisper to me all the time. But sadly it doesn't. In Haim, you're such a nice teacher. Well, thank you. Hi from Japan. Hello, I love Japan. I've been to Tokyo about 4 times now. I love it there. And like the job very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind words. Greetings from Argentina. Hello, Never Pony. Does someone know when GDC recordings will be up? Not a clue. Obviously it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I don't know. Praful Tiwari, first time catching your stream. Love your videos, dude. I'm developing my first solo game. It's like riding a roller coaster. Your videos help a ton. Thank you for the work. Yes. Thank you. So could you also please talk about the release cycles for indie games? How do you mean, Rob? What parts do you want to particularly know about? No problem, Gorski. Yeah, thank you for supporting. Why did they put the chat window? Can I move the chat window? Because it's right by the camera, so every time I'm flicking through it, you're going to see my thumb do that. That's so annoying. Can I not move it? I don't know how you move it. I don't think you can. I'm just going to do it with this hand. How do we go about releasing the games in terms of milestones and developments? Milestones and developments, obviously, I think depends on the type of game you're making. What you tend to find with indie games is you got. Okay, right, I see what you mean. It depends on what your end goal is. If you're trying to get in front of a publisher or investors or anything like that, or grants, you need some sort of vertical slice of the game. So for those who don't know, a vertical slice is a section of your game that you basically imagine your whole game's like laid out like this, and you cut out part of it, and you just develop that one and polish that one up a bit. So maybe like a single level or part of a level with some of the mechanics, not all of them, but some of them. And you try and make that as detailed, like a little demo that's really in detail. Okay, the reason why you want that for investors, publishers, and grants is because they want to see what the end vision will look like, and say like, could you scale this up with their investment? So a lot of the things you're going to see if you were pitching your game to people before you had the vertical slice are going to be comments like, game may look fun and interesting, but we have to wait to see it it's further in development, so they want to see it more complete. So rather than trying to kill yourself by making a whole game from scratch with no money and no resources, it might be beneficial to make a vertical slice and then get support from that way. The other method is if you're not going that route, but you want to go more of a self-publishing route and self-funding and crowdfunding, you may find that a more horizontal slice is more appropriate, where you're developing the whole game layer by layer by layer. So that's kind of the way the Mimic has been developed in a horizontal slice format. So we've been showing the game publicly with people layer by layer. We've been developing the whole thing. And we're at a stage now where the game is pretty much done. And then we're now pitching it. But that's only because I was lucky enough to be able to develop it all by myself. If you are needing to find people to join you, Let's say you need to decide what is your end goal. What is your end position going to be? Like, what do you want to end up doing with it? And then once you've got that, then you can start pitching it to these grants and shows and things like that. You can take them all to that. And you can take alpha tests, gameplay to people, to shows. That's totally okay. People are okay with that. The shows I've been to today, I've got alpha gameplay on show and all that stuff. So not a problem whatsoever. Never Pony. Why the water plugin is always under development? Is it going to be ready to be used on any day? Don't know. I don't work for Epic, so I can't say. Eventually. Yeah, eventually. I mean, EQS, the environmental query system, that was under in the beta experimental bit for a long time, and then it just magically showed up one day in the menus. And I don't think it was really announced it was going to show up in the menus. It just showed up, and not much edited or changed since its other development section. So I don't know. Maybe in 5.4. I mean, Epic have got a State of Unreal talk on Wednesday at GDC. So check that out. You'll probably have some announcements there. I don't know what. I ain't got no insight. But could be stuff. Don't know. I'm going to guess 5.4 is going to be out this week, next week. And then I'll talk about 5.5 probably. But who knows? We'll do a live stream that day too and reflect on what's been announced. NeoX Gaming. I want to become a game developer, but I don't know how should I learn, and what I learn. Can you help me in it? Yes. So you're following the right channel. That's good. So if you want to be a game developer, the first thing to think about is don't make a game. Just learn. So make things. And the first things you are going to make are going to be these little test mechanics, test things out, and try and learn the workflow behind games and how they work. There's also a lot that goes into games in terms of design too. So one thing that's often not talked about much, and I've tried a couple of videos on the channel before, and I want to do more, but time we'll get back to it. Is more game design based videos too, because game programming and blueprinting and things like that are great, but useless if you don't know how to design a good game. What goes into design, what kind of things you have to think about, how do you approach certain things, how do you know what to put into your game, yeah, and that's all very important as well. So this channel is a good place to follow, but there are plenty of others out there too that you pick up lots of cool little tips. For game design, Game Maker's Toolkit is a great place to check out. There's others too. GDC talks are great to listen to as well and watch, because they often share little bit of insights into what they want to talk about and what they've learned and what they've discovered and what they figured out. So it's worth doing that too. But start making stuff. That's the best way to do it. So check out my tutorials, follow along, try to understand what I'm talking about more so than just following it. I try my best to explain it as I'm going, and by all means, if I don't explain something, just leave a comment and I'll try and answer it, or come to Discord and explain, ask, whatever. But you try to understand why something is the way it is, why it works, and that'll make it a lot easier, because you want to learn a bit from column A, a bit from column B, and be able to put them together and make column C. And you can only do that by just looking at different things and just playing with it. Do you have any resource on compression system settings? Some Unreal games on Steam can take hours to update, 20 kilobytes, which bugs me. 15 gigabyte read download should be fast in the shouldn't be faster than a 200 kilobyte patch. I have no idea. That's a Steam thing. Outside of your control as a developer. They handle the patches. So it depends on like their server stuff. I don't know. I think they always. I think their downloads will always prioritize new game downloads. But I ain't got a clue. I'm going for horizontal slice as well. I'm bad at marketing, so let's hope I don't run out of money before I figure out a good way to market my game. I'm bad at marketing too. So what I've been doing the past couple of months, since December, maybe November, is I've been meeting with marketing agencies, and I'm meeting with loads more this week as well, to talk about what they can do, because everyone has like slightly different services, so you want to talk to people and find out what different services they have. So talking to them, find out what services they have, how much they charge, which is very useful, because then if you are putting a pitch together to get some investment money, you need to know how much you're asking for. So like, I'll give you a ballpark figure is for like a complete marketing plan with marketing materials. I've seen range around about £10,000, £10,000. I can't remember now what it was. And I've got, and then you've got influencer marketing. Some are charging like, you can put into like another 10 grand or 5 grand. Those ones that tend to be a bit cheaper, and up to you, like how much you put into it, because it's like ad spending on Facebook or something. You put in money and they spend it on hiring influencers. But the best thing to do is just look around for marketing agencies and just ask for a call. They'll give you free consultant calls, and you can find out more information, and how much they charge and all what they do. To shop around, have a look, see what they got. Yeah. Lethal, which one is better to learn for a job, Blueprint or C++? Depends on the job. Ideally know both. At least be in a position where you can at least read C++. Ideally both. But always, like, the more options you give yourself, the more options you're going to give employers. So yeah, if you give yourself more skills, guess what? You can make yourself more hireable. So yeah, learn both if you can. Last question. What are some good ways or resources to learn level design? Good question. So I've done a few live streams about level design myself, but a good resource is I always point people to is on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call the thing now, is Tommy Norberg. Tommy Norberg is a level designer who is also a teacher now, I think. And he does great little illustrations of level design, and I really recommend checking out his posts. I think he's writing a book at the moment. I'm waiting to hear, see if that book comes out. But I really like his content. It's really nicely presented in a compact, fun way, and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, check out Tommy Norberg, Norberg. Hey man, are you gonna be there the whole week or just Monday and Tuesday? I'm gonna be here the whole week. Yeah, every day. I've got meetings booked throughout the week. Yeah, I'm very very busy this week. But yeah, no, all in the week. So obviously no question time, but we'll try and do these sort of chats each day. I can tell you what's been going on. Obviously today's a bit quiet, so not much is really happening. Yeah. Last one. Action mappings are now deprecated. Is it very hard to change a project from traditional method to this new enhanced input? Is it crucial? No. It's simple enough. I've got a couple of videos about enhanced input actions. enhanced input action system gives you so many more options. It's a lot nicer. It's a lot more feature rich. So I'd strongly recommend doing it, but it's not crucial. There's a tendency for people as well to worry about what version of Unreal they're in, and they think they have to be in the latest version all the time. You don't have to. Mimic is made in 5.1. That's because there's nothing in 5.2 or 5.3 that game needs. And so we kept it in 5.1. It works, so we leave it there. So if you always look at what your game needs and what it doesn't need, and if your game doesn't need enhanced input actions and you're happy with the normal input actions, you don't have to worry about upgrading your version of Unreal. You can keep it as whatever it is you want to work on. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, some people are still working in Unreal 4, some studios, so yeah. Don't feel the pressure to have to update your game to every latest version of Unreal. Yeah. Should I make a video about it? What about in input actions? What about input actions in Never Pony? Or are you talking about something else? Not sure. I was also scared I wasn't going to make it this to the trip because on Wednesday I got very sick. My kids were sick, like vomiting on Monday and Tuesday, and then I got it on the Wednesday. And Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, everything just came out. It just kept coming out. Was not a pretty sight. And we had builders in that day as well, so I was like, no sleep because of the vomiting. And I just felt like crap. Yeah, and so I was like thinking, oh my god, of course I'm gonna get sick before I fly. And I got it, and after that, I was on the Thursday, Friday, I was better, but it's still the case now. My stomach is still so like iffy, and I got on the airplane. I was like, oh my god, if I throw up on this airplane, I'm never gonna live it down. So I was doing everything in my power not to be sick on that plane, everything, and it. And eventually, I was fine. Okay, I was all okay. I think just nerves as well, because I was leaving my wife and kids at home and traveling a long way, and I knew I had been sick, and I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. And you know, when you think something, you're gonna make it happen. So yeah, that was a touch and go time, and it still isn't 100%. I still feel a bit weird. I haven't really eaten a full meal. We have a full meal here. Like, FYI, any Americans watching, you need to cut your portions in half. I can't eat that much. It's too much food. On a good day, when I have a good belly, I'm not eating that much. Damn, that was yeah. But today was good. What did we do today? Today I went for a walk to explore a little bit, because today is my only real kind of free-ish day. Next Saturday as well, before I fly, is semi-free too. So I went for a walk and went to Pier 39 and took a water taxi around Alcatraz, because my mum wanted to see pictures of Alcatraz and things, so I did that for her. I got a water taxi for that, so... Which I got soaked on, by the way, because I left the window open because I was taking pictures. Hit a wave, got a splash in the face, so just absolutely drenched on that journey. Thankfully it's a nice day, so it dried up quite quick, but yeah, it was fun. But I went to Pier 39. It's my first time in San Francisco, so I was like eager to see what it's all about. Pier 39 is cool. It's like, if for those who don't know, it's like I describe it like an entertainment pier. So it's got like arcades, shops, and restaurants and stuff like that, right? Hard Rock Cafe, you know, all that stuff on it. It's really quite cool. Yeah. Thank you, Never Pony. I'll be very appreciative. Are you allowed to take video in GDC or to share, or are there NDCs that prohibit recording in the venues? I'm not entirely certain. I'll double check when I'm at the venue. I'll double check my badge. Hold on. It must have the badge. Hold on. Badge. It don't say nothing. I'll check when I get in there. We'll see. Obviously, I don't think you can take any pictures or anything of like the talks because they're being filmed by them anyway, and I doubt the stands because of meeting stuff is happening. But maybe like the lobbies and things like that, I can do little shorts and things like that. I don't know. I'll try. But I'm gonna try and do this every day at this sort of time. I'm gonna try and do this. Yeah. My plan is I want to be like quite open and share what I can. So I'm gonna share like what we're doing today, what we've done today, and thoughts on what I've seen, and I'll also answer any Unreal game dev questions you want to ask. Basically, let me have a look what I've got going on tomorrow. So tomorrow, what have we got? So we have got a summit in the morning about community management. I've got a couple of meetings after that, and then lunch. Then after that, we've got happy hours, like after party meeting thing, networking event. Some more community management based summits I want to go to. And then in the other day, so a fairly quiet day. Tuesday is a far busier day. For example, I'm going to try and hold it so far away so you don't see. You can see the blocks though. So that's Monday. Oh. Yeah. That's Monday. Tuesday, far busier. So Tuesday is definitely a big one. Even Wednesday's quite full. Yeah. So, Christ, even Thursday. So a fairly quiet one tomorrow. So hopefully get around to seeing the show floor a bit and seeing the stands and bumping into people. If you're also at the show or anyone from your team's at the show and they want to say hi, feel free to say hi. I've met a couple of people already from the channel that have watched my stuff, so always good to see and meet people in real life. But yeah. Hi David. Do you have any plans to come down to the gaming conventions down in Australia? Comes to a couple of decisions. One, will my wife let me? Who knows? Two, can I afford it? Who knows? And thirdly, it comes down to also like business wise. Is there a good business decision around going to these things? Yeah, I would love to go to Australia. I've never been. I would love to. So never say never. Who knows? But for that one, I probably have to take the wife. she did not like not coming to this one, so I don't know what she'd do. She'd be so bored on her own because I'd be at the show. So what is she gonna do? Sit in a hotel all day. What are the kids are gonna do? it's not that kid friendly of a city. Like there's stuff, but it's not like stuff to do. Try not to leave the Embarcadero. What's the Embarcadero? That's where you see the non-tourist San Francisco. Let's have a look at that. Make sure I'm okay. What's the Embarcadero? Is that like the I'm staying, by the way, in like just opposite the convention hall. It's like outside my window. I can see it like over there. Yeah, Embarcadero. So yeah, I'm in Embarcadero area. Mostly like Market Street, Union Square sort of area. Definitely, I definitely saw some non-touristy bits tonight in the Mission District. We went there for a couple of these after-party event things. Yeah, that's not touristy, but well, it is what it is. I'm using only blueprints to develop my game. I wanted to test how it works on less powerful devices, so I ported it to mobile, and it works surprisingly well. Yeah, I think one thing I see people often question is like, should I like I made it all in blueprint? I need to convert it to C++, don't I, to make it more run better. My point is this: does your game run well? Yes, cool. Leave it as is. Does it run on the intended hardware? Yep, cool. Leave it as is. So, like, for example, Mimic currently is all in Blueprint. Originally, the plan was to take some parts of it, not all of it, some parts of it and put it into C++. But so far, the game runs at max settings that are like 70 FPS, 80 FPS on my 3080. And it runs on the Steam Deck just fine too. I got it running on the Steam Deck the other day. So, really, at the moment, no call for it to go to C++, and so why would I make more work for myself when I don't need to? So we're going to try and push it. Originally, we didn't plan on the game coming out on the Switch, but part of me is tempted to try and see if I can get it running on a Switch. I'll be interested to see if that runs, but we'll see. But yeah, you optimize to whatever you're working towards. If it works, don't break what works. You know, like you don't fix what's working, do you? So don't feel pressured into thinking that you need to put it on C++ when you don't need to. You optimize to the point where you can. And also, you think about like what things you do and don't need. So, for example, in Mimic, we didn't need Nanite, we didn't need Lumen, so I turned it all off. So we don't have any of that. They were resource hogs that we just didn't need, so I took them all off and went back to baked lighting. So, always analyze what your specs for your game are and what you need for them, and meet those designs first. Don't worry about having all the tick boxes for like the maximum features, because you don't need it. But if it works, it works. Speaking of settings, have you got or do you intend to create a long form tutorial series on game settings? Yeah, actually, I could do. I'm literally doing it the part last week with Mimic. So Mimics, I've been all that's left on Mimic to do is the stat system, profile, like leveling and experience point systems and UI for that, achievements, and the menu systems, like the settings menu, which I started work on this past week. So in there we've got the graphics menu, audio menu, control menu, and accessibility menu. So yeah, I can do a video on those. So we've got the ability to change graphical settings, including gamma, which I thought was quite important because it's a horror game and you maybe too dark, too bright, we can slide up and down. So we've got a slider for that. And we've got things like resolution, obviously, texture quality, that stuff you can change quite easily. Also doing some things that are not baked into the game, so accessibility options that are not baked into the thing. Because a lot of those things that do already exist in the, if you look in the blueprint nodes, you'll see some of that stuff already in there. But accessibility stuff doesn't. So with accessibility, one setting we've got in there, for example, is you can change the icon color. So there's objective icons. There's two types. There's white ones and there's colored ones. And you can change the color of the colored ones to whatever color you like. You can freely choose whatever color out of 256 colors. So people can customize it as much as you want, and that's by we have to develop our own preferences system. So the game boots up and loads up a preference file, and can load data from into that. But we're adding more accessibility options in there. Basically, looking around to see what people want from it. So one we want to add, but we haven't added yet, is going to be epilepsy friendly options. So any strobe lighting that you've got in the game that's like flashing or flickering, we're going to make a setting on them, so it will check to see if you've got this epilepsy warning ticked or ticked off. And if you've got it ticked on, meaning you have epilepsy or whatever we'll make it mean, it'll make all those lights static and not flash. So it will change some of the things, same with like sparks and things like that. We'll try and dull it a little bit. Yeah. Sound stuff is simple enough. It's just sliders for like what volume things are going to be. Can you tell me which of your tutorials are best for beginners? I mean, it's an old one, but you can watch the Unreal 4 version of making your first game. That touches on all the basics in a very simple game manner. You make a game at the end of it, so by all means follow that. It's slightly different because it's Unreal 4 and Unreal 5. By all means, you can still install Unreal 4 and follow along, but all of it should still work. It was just like the nodes may be like named slightly differently or look slightly different, but for the most part, it's the same. But I'd recommend starting there, because then you'll have made a whole game. Plus, yeah. How hard was it to add control support in the UI menus? In my current project, I've got a system working, but I felt a very complex way to do it. You have to be very organised. It's, yeah, you just be very organised with it. It is a unintuitive mess to think about when you don't plan ahead. I'll try and do some videos on it. There are a few. There's no real solution to it because everyone's UI is very different. This is why I haven't really done too much in it, because everyone has their designs differently and UI layout differently. So it's hard to say like this is how you're going to fix your UI. But I can give you some pointers and tips to think about when you're designing your UI, laying it out, and also when you're actually implementing the controller support, what kind of things to be aware of. Like, for example, understanding fully what focus means and how to manage focus, and how navigation system works inside of Unreal's UMG. So yeah, I'll put that on the docket of videos to record. Yeah. One topic request for video loading screen in real time while the shows are being compiled. Not sure if you've covered it already. No, I have not covered that already. Do you mean like seeing the world being built in front of you, like loading in front of you and shaders like? Is that what you mean? Yeah. How about disability options for control schemes? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was also in there. So in the control menu, you can rebind every single option to whatever key you like. That's in. Well, we've started putting it in there. It's taken a while, but that's in there. So rebinding your keys to whatever key you like. Yeah. That should helpfully let people pick whatever they want to pick. So we did get running the Steam Deck this week, but we need to add some support for controller analog sticks. The sensitivity is a bit too much. At least I think it's a bit too much. So we need to put in some put in a value that'll bring the scale down for that. But also the value that can be modified with the controller settings, so we can control like sensitivity and things like that. Yeah. Unreal Engine 5 inventory system tutorial is pretty useful. It is, yeah. I think, yeah, that's not a bad one to pick up if you want to, Neo. It goes a bit advanced because it talks a bit about replication, talk about how it replicated it. And I would avoid looking at multiplayer games as your first game. Multiplayer games are hard, not just hard to make, they're hard to test, hard to bug fix. Yeah, just focus on very simple games. In a standalone game, it takes a minute to show something until then it is a black window. By the way, I'm expecting it makes a minimal 3D level. Yeah, RTX Rob, even if you're running on standalone, still what you want to do is package your game, close the editor, and run it as a packaged game. Games that are packaged will run always better than the editor version, even in standalone. So with loading screens, there's no built-in support for loading screens. You can fake it, but what I'd recommend you do, there's a free plugin you can use called Async Loading Screens, and that's what I'm using for Mimic, and it works fine. You can customize it too, to show like tips and other things. Yeah, so check that out. If not, there are other loading screen plugins you can install that help you put it together. But yeah, it's not a built-in feature, unfortunately, at this time. But yeah, that plugin is pretty good. Again, why have they put the thing on this side of the screen? Move the, the chat window to the other side of the damn screen. Why can't you move it? UI, UX. Even Google messes up sometimes, look. Just... God, it's so annoying. There must be a way of moving it. Can't be. Chat view. It's so dumb. By the way, that's what UX means. If you didn't know what UI, difference between UI UX, UI is how the UI of the software looks, and UX is how you use it. And I'm using this with my left hand because the chat is on the left hand side of the screen, but so is also the camera. So every time I flick up the chat, you're gonna see my thumb. So someone at YouTube should read my mind and move this chat to the other side of the screen, or allow you to move it wherever you want, because this is dumb. Because I have to move this hand in. It's not it's not, you know, and then I've got to pull my hand up across the screen to swipe like that. Think UX. Always think about how your user is going to use your user interface. By the way, that goes true for anyone making mobile games. Making a mobile game, don't forget when you're playing the game, your thumbs are on the screen, so make sure the controls aren't blocking anything important. For those making mobile games. As we're talking about UX, common thing that people overlook is I'm making a mobile game, I put all the icons on the screen, test it on PC, it looks great. Play it on their phone, and they realise they can't see anything because their hands are all over the place. Your fingers are an obstruction in that platform, so yeah, beware of that. And also I'll show you one thing as well. So one thing we're doing at GDC is presenting the game to investors, potential investors, publishers, people like that. And one of the things you need, so there's many things you need, but one of the things you need is business plan. Ideally, talk about like not just about the game and about the company, but also about how you're going to make money from it and how's it going to get return on investment and profit basically. And you put together a business plan for this sort of thing. And I think I showed you this last time I was on live stream, but I want to do something a bit special for Mimic and go a bit all out. And I have a history of doing this with a few things in the past. But so I made Mimic as a magazine, and the magazine it's quite stuff in it. But in it is the business plan. So like you learn everything about the business, the company, my beautiful face, about the market and industry, about the game, the marketing plan for it, looking at market research, again what we plan to do in marketing, all that stuff. Post-release plans, what we can do with our patches and things like that. How we're looking at bringing the community on board and helping and promoting the community through the game as well. Yeah, so it's pretty full on. And then at the back here we've got the funding details like that, financial projections. So overall, just wanted to make it really like visual and really cool and stand out, because I'm at a convention with thousands of other developers. I've got to stand out somehow. So I made this. This took bloody ages. So yeah, and it's got like contact details at the back too. So, and it looks the nuts though. So I've managed to get them like 40 copies printed out fully like this. I've also got a digital copy. I won't send out. I don't know how sensitive it is. So do I want to share it fully, or maybe I might have to like hide a few things. I don't know, but it's really cool and I love this thing. Yeah, it's the nuts. I've got my own little magazine. So I've got that. Also I've got so we also got hundreds of these printed out, business cards for Mimic and the studio name, details, QR code for wish listing. If you wish list the game, please do. There's the QR code. Just easy to give out, from desks, give to people, you know, whatever it may be. Overall, we've got that. There's also the pitch deck we've got, and videos, screenshots, all that stuff. All the screenshots are in here too, obviously. No videos, book. Yeah. How come you're at GDC? Talks or funding? I'm looking for funding and investors in the game and studio and what we're doing here, and hopefully do something pretty cool with that. So pitching all that stuff. I wanted to do another one as well for the studio, but I hadn't have time. There's a link for a digital version which you can also look at. Not publicly yet. I will make one available at some point. I say I probably have to take a page or two out that I don't want to share too much on. I mean, I don't know. I'll talk to someone and ask, like, is it good idea to share this? Like, I mean, I don't personally think there's a problem, but someone might have an issue with it. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see. But we've said, like, worst case scenario is if we don't get a publisher, we can self-publish. So we can, because investor does not equal publisher. There can be two separate people. So looking for investor first and foremost, publisher second, just to take the marketing off my hands and things like that. That'd be really good. Distribution, localization, things like that. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. It's late. Don't know. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. So, and worst case scenario, if we don't get any investors or publishers or anything like that, we can still release the game, still self-publish the game. It's just going to have to do it. It's a lot more hard work because I have to do it all for myself. Marketing won't be as big and as showy as we want it to be. Yeah, like for example, it'd be good to take it to Gamescom in Germany in August. But because it's a multiplayer game, it's hard to show off because you need to have then, well, in this case, 5 PCs set up, which means you have more staff, which means more space. So it becomes an expensive game to show. So if we were to take it to show, that does come with an extra cost. Hence why our marketing budget is going to be a bit higher than other indie devs. So it's things like that you have to think about. It's quite annoying, but I'm hopeful it'll get what it needs, and then we'll see it at conventions. And the goal, and whenever you're doing a convention or a meetup or anything like that, always go in with a goal in mind. Always go in with what objective is this? Yeah. So for example, in here we've got like the marketing plan somewhere. And part of the marketing plan, we've got the marketing objective. So what are the things we are wanting to accomplish with our marketing efforts? Be clear with that. And also think about that when you're going to any meeting with whoever. Think about what is your objective with that person, company, whatever. What do you want to get out of that meeting? If you're looking for an investor, then you want to fine-tune things to be all about investment and return of investment, because you have to think about it from their point of view as well. So I don't want to talk about like how much money you need. Always think about what's in it for them. Like why should they join you on this journey? Why should they, like, if you think about things like a bet, everything is a gamble, and you want to convince people that you're a good bet to put on. And that's what you talk about. And this is why when you talk about your game, you also talk about your company and talk about who is developing the game. Because the game is not just the only bet they're making. They're making a bet on you. So make sure you talk about that as well. And talking about who you are and where you come from and what you've been doing. Yeah. Is the game finished? Pretty much. As I said, all that's left is the stat system. To keep track of like stats and things you're doing, which goes hand in hand with the achievement system. The leveling up system, which again goes hand in hand with that stuff. And then there's just finishing off the settings menu. Setting menu, what's in there works fine, and each menu's got like 3 or 4 options. We obviously need to add more. That's just that'll be done relatively soon. And we've also been adding like just little polishing things as well. Just so we say it's alpha at the moment. That's mostly because it just needs testing more so than anything else. So we'll be opening open beta soon for Patreon members. So if you're a Patreon member, different tiers will be layered into the project, into the test run. So the top few tiers will get it first, and then we'll go down each tier. To test like multiplayer things, and also just to test like balance and test that is the game fun, and make sure that people are having a good time with it or not getting frustrated with it or understand what they've got to do, and lots of fine-tuning things like that. So We are doing that soon. I was hoping to do the open beta or closed beta, I guess it is, for Patreon members before GDC, but doing this, other work, and GDC prep just took up all this time. Yeah, it's been manic. Maybe that's why I got ill, because I've just been so stressed out. Anything you're expecting from Unreal Showcase in this GDC? I reckon they'll say that Unreal 5.4 will be out this week, next week. They'll probably show off some features for Unreal 5.5. I think we'll see a lot about UEFN and in collaboration and not collaboration, but and seeing stuff from that go into Unreal and Unreal go into that, and you'll see some stuff there. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the stuff you're going to see, like talk-wise from Unreal, is going to be probably like just talk about the features of Unreal 5.4. I don't know how much I'll go into the motion graphic stuff, because 5.4 introduces lots of motion graphic stuff, which is very useful and very cool, but very much mostly for like TV people, not necessarily games. So I don't know how it will fit with a game crowd at GDC. So it might be doing something a bit different. I don't know. I have no idea, no insight. Yep, always have a backup plan. I'm super bad at talking with people, so pitch meetings are always a nightmare for me. My talks always go like, my game's good, you invest good game, you go bing bing, and I get no callback. Yeah. I'm the same. I'm quite an introvert, so I don't like going up to people and going, hey, what you doing? I don't like doing it much. I'm getting better at that. And one thing that helped me get better at that, well, two things that helped me get better at that. One thing I got better at doing that is going to networking events, even small ones that are like local to me. Just talking to people there helped a lot. Doing that. And secondly, I go to therapy. I go to therapy to talk about my own self-confidence and my introvertness of it, many other things, but I'm talking about like things like that to make me more of a confident person, because I'm not really that confident, yeah, so I go to talking therapy about that. Yeah, so I recommend that if you can afford to or can get onto it, it can be quite useful, because it forces you to be open and talking about stuff and feelings and things like that, and it's good practice to share things with a stranger like that. Yeah. Do you think they'll get more AI stuff in? I don't know. Don't think so. Stress is always a big toll on my body. Yep. Always need to make sure you have a good balance, unwind and detach. Yeah, I need to tell myself that. Yeah. Anyway, we best call it there night, people. We've gone for a lot longer than I thought we would. I thought we'd only be here for half an hour, but it's now gone midnight here. I've got an early start tomorrow, so take care, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow, roughly same time, and we'll do another chat like this, answer any questions you have, and give you updates on what's going on. Okay, take care, everyone. Good night. Bye.